Welcome to Optimal Game State. This is going to be a really quick video. I just want to highlight this website. So this is wartally.com. If you're a Warcry fan, you probably know warcry.net. That's a great resource where all the profiles, all the various abilities can be found and are kept up to date and linked with the FAQ. Wartally is all about the tournaments. So with Wartally, the idea is for organizers to go in, update their tournament events and run them off this. So it is, if you're running an account, if you're running an event, it is a great piece of software for that. But for us, for me, what's far more interesting is actually looking at what people are playing and getting a bit of an idea of what the meta is like. Now, if you are a competitive player, this is something you're going to be very interested in. If you're a casual player, if you just enjoy playing games at home, you might not think this is important, but it actually is. And the reason behind this is, as an example, if you have a look at Off Meta Musings, one of his recent videos, he talked about 3 or 4 of the lower tier warbands. And he looked at ways to actually make them a little bit more competitive, a little bit more playable. And if you're setting up a two-player game, or if you're playing against one of your buddies, you really want that to be a fun, engaging game. And if one of the warbands is a lot better than the others and just kind of steamrolls them, then that's no fun. So even as a casual player, you do want to know what is good and what is bad. And you need to know, have like a few tools in building up that weaker warband to make it a little more competitive and recognizing what might be a little bit overpowered for the more competitive. So understanding what the top tier lists are is good, and understanding what the weaker warbands is good. All right, so let's have a quick look in and see what we have here. Okay, so obviously the first thing is we've got tournaments. We can see tournaments that are upcoming. These are ones that are being planned. So you can see it is quite actively used. And then these are ones that have run already. So you can see here, Bash of Titans was one of the online ones. They had up to 32 players, but they only had 16. So you can see that the TTS competitive league, quite an interesting one. I'm going to quickly click into it just so you can see. And we'll talk about this in a second. We'll talk about this now. So it's quite handy. They actually have the battle plans. So the ones, they're not always included necessarily in the pack, but the website has them. So it's got a great collection of battle plans like this, which is your deployment, your victory condition, and everything kind of tied in and just ready to play. But it also gives an idea of what the actual events were like. So this is the TTS league. This one is kind of interesting because they did use battle traits, and you can see here they are some quite interesting warbands. But what's notable about this is there's a tendency in many games for you just to play what's out of the box. This one's really, really pushing it. So I don't think you get 6 warlocks with repeater crossbows in your Canine Shadowstalker's box. So this isn't necessarily something that would often be played or run, but it's probably one of the more optimal ones because they're playing it on TTS, so they're not limited by what's in the box. So it's an interesting one to be aware of, to keep an eye on. And this particular event is quite nice because they actually were trying out the battle trait. So you will find that they are mono faction, so they're not playing allies in this. Like this one is what the Kurnoth Hunter with Kurnoth Scythe. Dan from Salty Sea was talking about one of his videos with the Kurnoth battle trait. They're able to teleport that Kurnoth Hunter into range of the Kurnoth Scythe and then open up an attack, which is very, very cool. Anyway, this is a interesting place to explore it. So if you're looking for the TTS competitive league, you will find some out there lists that maybe are a little bit tricky to build from boxes. And then, if you kind of look through the other ones, you'll kind of see, okay, let's have a look at this Bristol event. Yeah, these are maybe a little bit more reflective of what people are actually playing out there. So we can see here, Andy playing World Beast players. Yeah, so we can see the Wildered Blade was brought in. Is it just that? It's not too bad. Oh, and then you can see he's added in the blessings here. It's basically a great place to kind of look through what people are playing and what's seeing. Now, as an extra feature, Trolls, who has made this entire website, has also got quarterly meta reports. So this is the one for August 24. Now, what's interesting about these is he's going through the number of tournaments that are played, the number of war bands that are listed, and the number of battles. And then he's trying to extrapolate some data on that. So this looks like it might be a tier list. Don't think of it as a tier list. This is a factual report based on the events that are out there. So based on that, we can see, okay, these are scores, not necessarily percentages, I think. So what's that? Win plus half by draws? Yeah, okay. So it's a scoring system. So there's not a straight percentage, but these are, in theory, what would be the top list. But they're not necessarily the top list. They're what people played. They're what, matchups people had, how big events were, how small events were. So don't think of it as a meta, but do think of it as an indicator, something that's kind of there. So we can kind of see the Will Record doing quite well. These are the ones that are most played. So it's my most popular. And then this particular one is the one that I absolutely love. So this is the most popular allies for each Grand Alliance. So all of Order, the majority of them are going to be taking the Orion Quest with Grandhammer, Caltheus Zandire, always super popular, or just get a Prime with Bullstorm crossbow. So if you are a player and you have one of the Order warbands, look at these three and consider if they're going to fit into your warband. Similarly, Death with Wield of the Blade, Briar Queen and the Vargulf Courtier, Destruction, Brewgrit, Hawkgorn Mantrapper, Brew Boss with Boss Dropper, and Chaos has Voxmore, of course, the Fulmar Crusher, and then since Fulmar Crusher got a bit of a nerf, the Ogre Myrmidon has been a bit more popular. But yeah, you can see, yeah, Vexmore is very, very popular. Um, but this is a good indication of what allies are out there, and allies are quite important when you're looking at your warbands and when you're looking at how to improve them. So if you have two warbands, you're looking to play against each other, you think one of them has been a little bit weak, maybe have a look at the section and see if you can fit in some of these allies from this list, because these will be some of the more powerful ones. Although, do note that these are the most popular. So in theory, if everyone played Wielder of the Blade and the Wielder of the Blade was terrible, actually fantastic, but just as an example, then Wielder Blade would appear on this. So it is a popularity, not necessarily a success level. So keep that in mind. Also, once you scroll down and you actually get to the um, Warband focus sections, you can see what they're doing best against in relation to size. What mostly gets taken. The Trailblazer with twin crossbows is another example. I think if we look at a more enthusiast list, this is one of the TT ones. So that's Tabletop Simulator, TTS. You get one twin crossbow in the box. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is 5 boxes just to get that one figure, and then one Trailhound. You'll probably have 20 of them at that point. The Rune Lord is then brought in, and yeah, again, looking through these lists, you'll find some amazing stuff in here. And then the Saurus Scarvatron, which I wouldn't have normally considered, but the model is absolutely fantastic, so I can definitely see that being a good addition. Yeah, so the Trailblazer with twin crossbows isn't something you're probably going to see in real life, but it is something you could play. Maybe if you're doing 3D printed models, or if you're proxying something in that you think would be appropriate for instead. Heading out to Slaanesh, again, we can see a couple of different options from the top performing ones. Let's have a look and see what this one is like. Yeah, okay. Vexmore, yeah, so you're probably going to see certain patterns, and it's kind of good to get an idea of what's out there. Anyway, this is a fantastic resource. It's a great website. You can see here there's a couple of different things of interest. So that was the meta report that I was looking at. There is these battle plan libraries I talked about before. This is actually a great place to go check out battle plans that you yourself can play. The title packs are a particular note. These are ones that Dan from Salty Sea channel, and make sure I'll put a link in it, has put together. So this is someone who's very experienced with Warcry, putting together as interesting a selection of fights that they can. We've obviously got the core rules. We've got some of the tournaments that went up. Yeah. Do I have anything else? Sure. Oh, and there is also, if I go back to the bottom, there is also a warband builder. I haven't experimented much with this, but one of the nice things about it is you can include you can include blessings, which isn't something you can do in Warcry. I'm a big fan of the Warcry version, but this does let you include the blessing. Now, blessings technically aren't supposed to be included until the fight starts, but you always have the option. You're supposed to have the option of switching around, but some tournament organizers like having it pre-built in, and sometimes it can be good just to have it down so you have an idea of what you're doing. Anyway, that's it. I just wanted to show you this. It's a fantastic resource. It's not something I'm involved with. It's not something I do. So props to Trolls for going to the work. It is an excellent resource and another fine example of the Warcry community coming together to make things a little bit better and make things great for the game. Thanks for listening, and yeah, my next video is going to be looking at competitive versus casual. So that's one of the reasons I wanted to mention Wartally here, because Wartally is a fine example of competitive Warcry, where generally many people consider it to be a casual game. All right, hopefully you'll check in for that.
Thanks for making it all the way to the end. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Each week I put up a new video talking about one of Games Workshop's specialist games. The goal is always to try and make the best possible two-player experience. If this is something you'd find interesting, please subscribe to the channel and comment to let me know what you'd like to see in future.